Questions for reflection. The Hebrew prophet Jeremiah spoke the word of the Lord to Israel during a time of trial, during the siege, persecution, and destruction undertaken by the Babylonians. Yet the persecution of this faithful prophet, the persecution he bore, came right from Israel itself, from God's people. He was ignored, often rejected and persecuted by those whom he sought to help and liberate. This is often the case with those who stay faithful to the Lord's words, in times when faithfulness is not the norm. There is a lesson from Jeremiah which all of us can learn today. We need to expect persecution. Yes, from the increasingly hostile culture around us. In a sense, we are living in a new Babylon, as much of the contemporary world rejects God. But also from within the church itself. The church is the people of God, and His people are in a crisis of truth, a crisis of faith, and a crisis of morality. Now is not the time to shrink back from living and proclaiming the fullness of the Catholic Christian faith. Indeed, the Lord is asking all who bear the name Christian, and especially Catholic Christians, to speak out boldly and live faithfully. The church belongs to Jesus Christ. Are we willing to be ridiculed, rejected, and even persecuted? The psalmist David sings of being fully submitted, surrendered to the will of God. He places his trust in the Lord. Notice in this song of petition, and that is what so many of the Psalms are, he also acknowledges that he is facing enemies, opponents, who seek to entrap him and undermine his resolve to live a life totally surrendered to the Lord. In this, he flows right out of our first reading and invites us to do what he did, surrender our whole lives to the will of God. When we do, the Lord, as he did for David, will shine his light upon us and illuminate the way. Have we told the Lord we trust him today? In the gospel passage appointed for today's Holy Mass from St. Matthew's account, the disciples and their entourage are accompanying Jesus on the way to Jerusalem. Jesus knew what was to come. He was sent to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. He is sharing with the disciples of his impending passion and death. But at that time of seriousness, the mother of the sons of Zebedee seeks to position her sons in a place of honor in the coming kingdom. Notice, the disciples became indignant. Jesus did not. He continued to prepare the disciples, telling the mother and the sons and all who would listen that they would, quote, drink the same cup. The cup he is referring to was and still is the cup of suffering, the cup of being poured out for others, of carrying his cross and participating in his ongoing work of redemption. They still did not understand. We are his contemporary disciples. Do we understand?